as you say, might not have been practicing, expecting to actually compete, but they would be doing, I don't know what the correct phrase is, enough to tick over in case they were called upon.
Absolutely. The training continues, and she will have known the importance of being a reserve rider for the games, and she will know the dressage tests, inside out. She'll know her how to prepare and what to do, and both her and her horse will be in fantastic shape, ready to perform. But she wouldn't have foreseen this happening, and she'll be experienced enough to step into the team and perform the best that she possibly can.
Nicola, we've also been talking here as we preview these Olympic Games about the effect that those early medals can give to the rest of the team, knowing that there was this opportunity for Charlotte Dujardin. Could there be a knock-on effect to the rest of Team GB?
I think without doubt there will be a knock-on. I think equestrian is under a little bit of a dark cloud at the moment by Charlotte's own admission. She saw and recognises the wrong that's been done, but by no means is that the way that horses are trained. And the horse welfare is absolutely centre and foremost of all of our minds. And and horses at top level or any level, when they are performing and doing and working at that level, they are doing it because they're happy, and they've spent years training them to this level. And it's a real magical. I always say that the sport of eventing, in particular, which is my sport, is magical. That trust and partnership built over years, that two individuals, the horse and the rider, become one, and it is so special, that bond and partnership. And yes, it will be something that the British team will be collectively having to sort of deal with and digest. And it's really important that they are very positive going forward, that they stick to their goals, their game plans, and really go into the games as confidently as they were, at the beginning of the week. And at the end of the day, the eventers, they have to be the favourites for gold, both as a team and also, up for 2, if not 3 individual medals as well. And the same with the dressage and the show jumping. They're very, very strong, Britain, going into the Equestrian Olympics, and we're certainly wishing them the very, very best of luck.
I always say, Nicola, that going to the equestrian for one day or a couple at an Olympics, I really, really enjoy doing, partly to talk more about that bond, that the special bond that the rider has with the horse, to find out about techniques to get the horses to do what you need them to do, to talk about the bravery of both horse and rider in some of the stuff that you where you compete, and the whole thing I do find absolutely fascinating. And yet so many of those questions, I fear, at this Olympics will not be there at the start because of everything that has happened. So how sad or angry, or a bit of both, do you feel for your sport at the moment?
I think, we're all shocked and saddened, the whole equestrian community, about what has happened. By no means do we condone this type of training, and I can only talk about the bond that I had with one of the eventing horses, JL Dublin, who was a horse that he and I won individual gold and team gold at the European Championships just a couple of years back. And he was a horse that we found as a 4-year-old. He's now 13. He was a really promising, exciting horse as a 4-year-old, and me as his trainer, as his partner in competing, and his, obviously, his rider. Had the Paris Olympics. I know he's 13 years old now, and very much focusing with Paris all those years down the line in the forefront of my mind. And it's a little bit like training a horse. It's a little bit like a child going through their education, starting at primary school and then moving on. And the horses are the same. They've got to sort of develop both mentally and physically through their education. And time is taken to develop that confidence, develop that trust and that harmony between horse and rider. And that fantastic bond, which I always refer to as being so magical, and why I've always loved being involved with the horses and the sport. And then with that sort of dream of that young, raw 4-year-old, then developing into a horse that was able to be on the British team and win individual and team gold. And now, a couple of years later, here going to Paris is really special, and it's such a very, very long journey to realise that dream.
Nicola, thank you so much for talking to us, and we look forward to hearing more from you throughout the BBC Sport coverage of these Olympic Games. Thank you, Nicola.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to Olympic silver medalist Nicola Wilson.
There was a really interesting article in the Times this morning from Owen Slot, partly connected to what we saw with that video, but also the general ethos around training humans. Actually, it wasn't to do with the training of animals, but training and coaching of humans, of which obviously gymnastics has had a huge issue in the past. Lots of sports have globally, and whether some countries or more countries now take a little bit more of a holistic approach to an Olympic Games. So maybe if our medal targets drop 2 or 3, but everybody's in a good place, there's nothing wrong with that.
You know, this is a fascinating debate, and I've got to be honest, I feel sorry for Charlotte. You know, she was due to go to an Olympic Games and become the most decorated female GB Olympian of all time, and 5 days before a video comes out and her life is ruined. So I hope she's okay as well in all of this. I think that video's 4 years old. I don't know why it's not come out earlier and it hasn't been addressed earlier, if it's really important. So first things there on that. We've been extremely successful. We are the most successful Olympic nation on the planet. We may not come top of the table, but the countries that beat us are China with 1.3 billion people and America with in all of this. I think that video's 4 years old. I don't know why it's not come out earlier and it hasn't been addressed earlier, if it's really important. So first things there on that. We've been extremely successful. We are the most successful Olympic nation on the planet. We may not come top of the table, but the countries that beat us are China with 1.3 billion people and America with tens of billions of pounds of resource and 400 million people. We are punching above our weight, and I'm incredibly proud of what we do. And I don't think we shout about it enough. But let's be clear about how we've achieved it. It's called no compromise approach. And that was the slogan of UK sport for many years, and has resulted in us from finishing behind a country that has more sheep than people, New Zealand, in 1996, with Sir Steve Redgrave, the only person ever delivering gold medals for us, to being the sporting powerhouse that we are now. So I'm reflecting on my career. My coach pushed me to being sick. Now, if I told you I went training and my coach made me be sick on more than one occasion, go, oh, well, poor Steve, that's not right. He's pushing you too much. But actually, that's what you needed to do if you're going to win medals at the Olympic Games. So I think it's a fascinating debate, and this latest example has sparked it off again.
It's possible that, you know, that it's moved on, that the way in which athletes' welfare is considered is different, and that it's not necessarily less effective, that tough love approach isn't necessarily the one that gets results.
Yeah, it is, but it's always individuals that are ostracised, that are pointed out. A number of coaches have been made to carry the can for what I think is a whole sport practice in some regard, and it's, you know, people are scapegoated.
Don't forget, some Olympic sports already underway, including football. In the women's event, Spain beat Japan 2-1. Defending champions Canada beat New Zealand 2-1. Emma Hayes USA start their Olympic campaign tonight. They face Zambia. Kickoff there is just about any time now, actually. In the men's rugby sevens, defending champions Fiji have topped Pool C after they beat the host France 19-12 to set up a last date meeting with Ireland at 9 o'clock. The All Blacks are about to kick off the first quarter-final against South Africa. France take on Argentina at 8:30. Australia take on the USA in the final quarter-final at 9:30. And we've already had a new world record in the women's archery, with South Korean Lim Shi-hun scoring 694 points in the ranking round. So we've got the Olympics underway, and we've got it underway with a record-breaking performance.
That France-Argentina will have real needle to it because of everything that's gone on in the football with the chant as well. And also, I read earlier, Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal could be set to meet in the second round of the men's singles in the tennis. Steve, Lewis, thank you very much. Plenty more to come from you two with us over the course of the next 2 weeks, and more to come in the next hour. We'll be joined by Chef de Mission Mark England, chat diving with Leon Taylor, and athletics with Alison Kirbishley as well, all after the latest BBC News at just after 8 o'clock.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
With the 5 Live News, I'm Jill Mackenzie. The Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, says the images of a police officer kicking and stamping on a man at Manchester Airport are disturbing. But he's seen the full footage and says there's broader context. An officer's been suspended and the police watchdog is investigating. A lawyer for the men says one has a cyst on his brain and the family is traumatised. Andy Burnham spoke to 5 Live earlier.
What I have agreed in discussions with the IOPC and the Home Secretary today is that the investigation that will now follow will be done as swiftly as possible with input from the community and fully independent. So I think the key thing for me is, the allegations are serious, but we do need to let that process now proceed without everybody rushing to judgment.
The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres says the planet is becoming more dangerous as the world experienced its 3 hottest days on record this week. Meanwhile, Met Office analysis shows climate change is increasing the number of days where temperatures are over 28 degrees Celsius. Liz Bentley is the Chief Executive of the Royal Meteorological Society.
The averages tell us one thing about the trend, but the extremes tell us about the high impact weather. So those that cause disruption to our lives and have an impact on mortality rate, for example. So we see the number of deaths increasing because of heat or floods or storms. And the report really does just emphasise that we're seeing this dramatic increase.
The Friends star Jennifer Aniston has criticised Donald Trump's running mate for calling Democrats a bunch of childless cat ladies with miserable lives. J.D. Vance made his comments in 2021, but the interviews resurfaced since Mr. Trump chose him as his preferred vice president. Scientists say there's convincing evidence that the shingles vaccine given by the NHS could delay the onset of dementia. People who had the Shingrix jab had 17% more time without a diagnosis of dementia than those who had an older vaccine. And the NHS has urged people to keep trying to book appointments to donate blood after delays on the website. They say stocks of O-negative blood are unprecedentedly low in England.
Russell swings his arm, looking for his 5th wicket. It goes in and bowls. It's bowling!
England versus the West Indies, the 3rd test, live from Edgbaston.
First time I bowled in England, for England as well. It was quite special to finish it off in a session.
Actually getting 5 wickets, he showed his class and he showed the world what he's got.
Hear every ball, every boundary and every wicket with 5 Sports Extra.
And keep up to date with the TMS podcast on BBC Sounds.
Can you just do that root again? I liked it. Root. Lovely.
England versus the West Indies. The 3rd test starts Friday at 11 on BBC Sounds.
The Olympic Games, Paris 2024.
On 5 Live and BBC Sounds.
Hello, welcome back to 5 Live Sport and our big Olympic preview show. Still to come, we're going to be joined by the Chef de Mission Mark England. We'll chat rowing with Katie Smith, plus there's going to be diving and athletics. And on that, joining us for the next hour, Olympic silver medalist in diving, Leon Taylor. 2-time Olympian in the 400 metres, Alison Kirbishley is here. And we'll be together for the athletics of the second week of the Games.
Are you excited?
Very, very much so. There's so much to look forward to, isn't there?
There really is. And Lee, I always have to do the line, the Olympics starts once the athletics start. Hey!
Well, to be fair,
it out there.
To be fair, I'm delighted that my venue's right next to the Stade de France. So as soon as I'm finished around 5 p.m, my headphones will come off, and you'll see me hovering as well.
It works perfectly, doesn't it? In terms of the timings, you can do it, and you can travel around. Have you had a chance to kind of look around Paris, get a sense of where the venues are, go and visit them? And
yeah, so first 24 hours is always a little bit of a whirlwind, isn't it? So I'm thinking, okay, looking at a map, how long is it going to take? You get to a venue, the security's he's always on the other side. So I don't know how many steps I've got in today. I'm not counting them, but my feet are sore. So I'm looking forward to going to bed this evening. But it's exciting, isn't it? I went down to the Seine this morning, couldn't really get anywhere, but the whole area's in lockdown. It's nice to be back in a host city after missing Tokyo. It's just like, oh yeah, this is what we do it for.
And even that quietness, even the road closures that people are getting a bit frustrated with, they're creating that sense of occasion. I don't know if you've been down, Ali, to the Seine, where they've got all the seats set up for the opening ceremony tomorrow, and they've got all the various locations set up around there. It just starts to feel like an Olympics.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I came in on the Eurostar and landed about 6, and like Leon said, it's like a whirlwind because you're straight off to accreditation, and I mean, I love this city, and I absolutely love Paris, and this was the first city that I ever did my first radio broadcast with way back in 2003. It was the World Champs. So Stade de France, it's just special, and it does. I mean, it just feels like an Olympics all of a sudden. It feels like 2012.
It does feel like an Olympics, all right. And there is a real buzz about the place, even when you first arrive, whether it be on the Eurostar or at the airport. Which I have to say, just going back a couple of weeks, never felt like there was in any German city for the Euros. It felt completely. You arrived in Munich or arrived in Berlin, and there was absolutely nothing. And my immediate worry about coming here was whether, and forget all the usual horror stories you get before every Olympics, or whether we just live in a time where there isn't a buzz around these things, but it does feel like there is here.
And we've been lucky in that the Diamond League has ran right up to the games. So 3 weeks ago we had Paris, then they went to Monaco, and then they went to London back to back, and I think that in itself,
and some really encouraging performances there as well.
Encouraging performances. But I think having it here in Paris, all of a sudden it got a lot of athletes and the entourage around very, very excited.
So we're broadcasting in this sort of brasserie, in this cafe. We're outside. There's a real nice buzz around the place. It is full outside, and this is actually where we're going to be based throughout the Olympics. Various 5 live shows will be coming from here, and we'll be at all the venues as well. Kelly will be at a lot of the swimming in the evening, and then the athletics in the second week during the evening. But throughout the daytime, me, Tony, Ellie will be able to go wherever the stories are on 5 Live, and we hope there are plenty of stories and plenty of success. And Team GB chef de mission Mark England joins us now on 5 Live. Evening.
Good evening to you all.
Are you nervous? Are you relaxed? Are you knackered? Do you want Steve Cram's glass of red wine that's over there?
Or his flaming lamb?
Or his flaming lamb? How are you?
Bit of all three.
Yeah.
No, I'm in good shape, actually. Yeah. And the team's in excellent shape, so we're excited for a competition in a couple of days.
Is your job nearly done?
Well, I'd like to think I could watch some sport rather than putting together a few of the pieces that we've had to over the past couple of weeks. But, it's been a fantastic campaign. We've been working tirelessly with the organising committee, which has paid some dividends over the past 3 or 4 years. And, we've got a great footprint across France, across Paris. It's brilliant.
Is that something you are ahead of other countries or other teams, however you want to describe them, in how you work with an organising committee?
I like to think so, yeah, for sure. And today, you may not have picked up, but we announced our pre-games preparation camp for LA28. Stanford University is super excited about that. I think working closely with the organising committee has a couple of benefits. One of which is the choice in the Olympic Village, which has been absolutely critical. So we're delighted with where we are, but it took a lot of hard work to get there.
You base yourself at Stanford for 28, are you? Are you?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah. Are you hanging around for that
one? Let's see on August the 12th. I might not have a choice. But interestingly, I mean, I know we're talking about Paris, but if you just fast forward 4 years, actually it's been quite difficult, quite challenging, Leon here, quite challenging getting an aquatic centre which has an appropriate 50-metre pool facility, and obviously Stanford's got 3, and a wonderful diving pit as well, with 10 metre synchronised diving, all of the synchronised platforms which you'd expect from a top quality university. And when we looked at it, we just thought, well, I'll go there just to discount it because it's a bit too far north. But actually Palo Alto, where it's situated, 20 kilometres, 20 miles south south of San Francisco. It's got its own eco-climate as well. They've organised that. So, we're absolutely thrilled. But Paris is looking great.
Yeah, well, you talk about the village and you talk about GB House and the positioning of everything. Tell me a bit about the negotiations, about what you wanted and how you managed to get that all sorted.
Well, the village is almost split into two halves. There's probably about 160, 175 National Olympic Committees on one side, and there's a kind of an eco-climate, lovely island across the bridge, which they constructed. And we always said that we wanted to be on the island, primarily because it has a calm environment, which is great for optimising performance for the athletes. It's somewhere that they can come back from either competition or training, or through the village, through the transport mile, through the dining hall. I'm sure we'll get on to dining in a moment. And I'm losing weight by the day. But there is this lovely island which does have its own dining hall, has its own car park, and we've got a fantastic base there. So the village is great, but it is very busy. But when you come over onto the island, it's really calming, and the athletes are thriving and they love it.
Yeah, tell me then, go on, about the dining. What's going wrong?
Well, it's a supply chain issue, I think, is the technical.
I think that's fair.
On eggs. Is that
on
it?
eggs and meat. And actually, it's not a blanket problem, but it is at times. There are lengthy queues because there are some food shortages, and I think the organising committee have been very open about that today. So that's what they've said. So they've been putting in place to mitigate that, but because it's a supply chain issue, it will take a couple of days. But we've got this fantastic performance lodge in Clichy, which is about 15 to 20 minutes away, and we've brought our own caterers, we've brought our own chefs over, we've brought our own nutritionists over. And I have to say that we're running out of food there because the athletes are absolutely loving that.
Where's that again, Mark? I'm just going to note down. Just give me a pin drop on.
Yeah, that's on not supply issues. That's demand issues.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just wonderful because it's a performance centre. We've taken over a whole school. We call it our performance lodge, and I wrote a little piece to say thank you for them, Leon, you like this, and then as I started to write it, I thought, well, let's go back to when it all started, 2004, which was a place where you could have a bottle of beer and perhaps meet your family and friends. Yep. And that was replicated in Beijing. London was a performance centre in the village, so we couldn't have families and friends. And then 2016 we had the British School, a little bit too far away. 2020 was wonderful, but it was a COVID game, so there's no family and friends. So this is absolutely perfect. It's
all coming together.
And we're encouraging all the athletes to go there. But we hadn't anticipated the demand for the food, so they're coming and spending the day there, having 2 or 3 meals a day, which is great. It's a performance advantage, and the nutrition is absolute top quality.
When you get to August the 12th, as you said, what
the start of the shooting season?
What constitutes a successful games for you? Because before the news we were talking about holistic approaches, medal counts, trying to balance the two things maybe a bit more than had been done, say, in Steve Parry's day when he was talking about his coaches driving him to being sick and so on and so forth. So by the time you get to mid-August, what makes a successful games for you? More than just medals?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, obviously there is a medal target. The athletes are supported by the lottery to produce their best performance, and their best performance at an Olympic Games. And the medal range, as you know, is 50 to 70. So, with a fair wind, we'll kind of slice into the centre of that. Lost a couple of medalists just recently. We're happy to touch on that. Sure. But for me, and I welcome all of the athletes, and we have a team celebration, and I've just been over to Saclay where the cyclists are, Tom Pidcock and Kai White and the guys, and the road and time trial cyclists. And this morning I did a couple of others, judo, and I say to them, just be proud of your performance on the field of play, but be proud of your performance representing Great Britain off the field of play. So to answer your question, what does that actually mean? And it means a lot of things. It means that how do we conduct ourselves in country? We've got a huge footprint. Saint-Germain-en-Laye, Reims, those cities have been brilliant to us. Clichy, where our performance lodge is. The people there have been brilliant. It's a pretty tough part of town, and it's a neighbourhood school, and we're trying to build a legacy with that school and some twinning options with them. And then it's, what does this class of 2024 actually mean? You know, what is this class? What's the legacy of this particular team? And I think for me, it's a couple of things. One, promoting very, very strong female leadership. So, you know, our Chief Medical Officer is Dr. Charlotte Cowie, Head of Performance Medicine for the Football Association. We've never had a head of performance or a head of medicine as a female before, so, you know, that's groundbreaking for us. Somebody that Leon's worked with very, very closely, Frankie Carter-Kelly, she's head of the Commonwealth Games Team England. She's deputy here, and she'll go on to lead the Commonwealth Games team in 26, wherever that might be, you know. And so, you know, we're building this cadre and quality and programme of high-quality female leaders, which is so, so important, I think, in British sport.
But as you said, one of the medalists who is not going to be taking part in the games is Charlotte Desjardins, who has withdrawn. Just from your perspective, talk me through that whole issue.
Well, it came to light, as far as we were concerned, as soon as the video was delivered to the International Federation, the FEI, and I was then contacted to determine and just to be advised that it was happening. And then actually Charlotte took the very brave step, but also the correct step, of choosing to stand down from the Olympic programme, stand down from Team GB, and then got into debate with the FEI. The content of that debate I was not party to, and it's now a live investigation, as you know. So I probably can't comment too much, other than we're trying to support Charlotte through the British Elite Athletes Association that support athletes both here and back in the UK. But, you know, the welfare of any aspect of Team GB is one of our highest priorities, and so you know, she's admitted the mistake that she has made, or the error of judgment, you know, and no doubt in the fullness of time we'll get an opportunity to talk to her.
And you have a support network that can provide a duty of care to her,
both in country
as well.
Yeah, both in country and back in the UK. So in country, unlike Steve Parry's day when he was getting pushed by his coach, but you know, we do have a lot of mental health and well-being experts in country, easily accessible both in the village, at the performance lodge, and across our footprint. And then back in the UK, we have a contract with the British Elite Athletes Association, so they're kind of UK based for any issue that any athlete would like to discuss or raise with them. So it's pretty comprehensive, in a very, very considered and appropriate way.
And there's also the care required for Becky Moody as well, who comes in as replacement, because it'll have been a tumultuous few days for her.
Yeah, when I selected, we're in the privileged position at the BOA that actually the sport nominates, and then we select. And actually, when I did the selection of all of the equestrian athletes, actually, they hadn't selected the final three. So actually I selected four, and the final three were to be determined, and obviously Charlotte way that actually the sport nominates and then we select. And actually, when I did the selection of all of the equestrian athletes, actually, they hadn't selected the final 3. So actually I selected 4 and the final 3 were to be determined, and obviously Charlotte got the nod there. But so Becky would have been familiar with all of this environment. It won't be a shock to her. Her horse is in country. We've had an evening with them, which unfortunately I couldn't attend because I was coming here, but prioritised here. But she yes, of course, it's very difficult. But it's, in Athens we had an incident, and we had to get Mary King in, right on that day because the other horse was lame, and so we had to replace the horse. And it's not as immediate and as harsh and as difficult as that particular one, but that doesn't take away the pressure, I think, that Becky's now facing, and that whole, the dressage team, which is a fantastic high quality team.
Thank you for being here, then, because you have got an awful lot on your plate. Can I just throw it forward to new sports when they're in an Olympics, and from your role, when something like kiteboarding gets brought in, for example, what do you then do? I mean, do you then go and research it? Does somebody ring you up saying, I'm the I'm the chief exec of kiteboarding? How does it work?
Well, somebody told me you're going to ask, so I looked it up. Well, fortunately, it comes under the same national governing body, the RYA, and that's always helpful. So when you have a new sport like lacrosse or flag football or breaking, and they don't have a relationship with the National Olympic Committee, it's a bit more difficult for governance issues and all the rest of it. But actually, this is a great one. The athletes have transferred. The sailors have transferred from other disciplines, windsurfing, for example. But wow, I mean, what an event this is going to be! The fastest event in the Olympics. Give or take Noah Lyles, but this is a rapid, very, very fast moving, and I'm sure it'll be hugely exciting, and I'll probably try and pick the day to go down there.
It's just going to be incredible, and a lot of these new sports are going to be so exciting to watch, and they are ones that will draw interest just from novelty as much as anything. Obviously, there's no British representation in the breaking, but even then, is there a job for you?
We did try. We were quite close.
But that's what I was getting. Do you start to set up that talent path for potential breakers to come through? Did we call them breakers?
I think we
I
do.
don't know. Is that oldest? Yeah, oldest swinger in town over here in the corner.
I think you got that one.
Yeah.
But interestingly, that is out of the programme for LA. So
that's what I was going to say. There's no continuation.
Yeah.
It's stop-start for these sports.
Yeah, it is. So there's 28 core sports, and then some sports drift in and out. I would be surprised if flag football were in 32 in Brisbane. I think that cricketers will have a great legacy. I mean, the IOC have been very, very open about the requirement or the desire to be in the Indian market, and so we expect most of that activity for cricket to be on the East Coast as opposed to Los Angeles in the West Coast, just to capture that Indian market. So obviously we're pretty good at, or we qualify for men's and women's T20 cricket. Flag football, I hear we're quite good at, but I haven't researched it yet. I think it's grown-up tag football, isn't it? Something like tag rugby, but I'll take a look at that. No offence to those people who are listening who may be hoping to attend in 28. And lacrosse we're great. We're good at, and squash we're good at as well. So I think the LA cycle, getting onto that, the LA cycle will be a huge Team GB, possibly 450 athletes, which would be wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, I think the flag footballers may be on just to say it's not like touch rugby. I'm just warning you.
I forgot you were next one.
I'm just protecting you. That's all I'm doing. How much of a challenge is tomorrow night and the opening ceremony for you?
Interesting question, that, because you can pour over the length of the flotilla. You can pour over the access egress, the timing, and is there water, and are there snacks, and is there a toilet on the boat. You can pour over all those things, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. I think it will be just the most wonderful spectacle if they pull it off. It will just be incredible. And we had a presentation this morning, and they were billing it as the most complex but the greatest and biggest show ever produced. You know, so if that is what it is, and you know, we have 2 great and wonderful 9 Olympic Games between them, 2 flag bearers in Tom, who Leon obviously has worked with. You know, it was a wonderful moment. And Helen, you know, Helen Glover, and you know, she was brought to tears. I asked her in front of, she didn't know it was coming, and I did the team welcome for all the rowers. They're down at the Paxton, and they came into the village, and I made a bit of a fuss of all of them and the support staff. We're working very closely with the coaches now, and then she came up last as a 4-time Olympian, so there's debutantes, 2-time Olympians, no 3-time Olympians in rowing. She came up as a 4th time and went to sit down, and I said, you know, just don't move yet, Helen, and she stayed. And then I started to talk about her and about her history with us and about her legacy that she's left, a double Olympic champion, and she was moved to tears. It was quite a moment, and it was nice that it was in front of all her peers. And Tom, when I spoke to Tom the other night in the village, I wanted Jane, her coach, to be there. I wanted the performance director to be there, just so that he had that moment to share. And I very much hope that some of the rowing team and Jane will join us on the flotilla.
That must be the best part of your job,
yes,
isn't it?
You know,
those 2 moments every 4 years.
Well,
could you imagine?
Yeah, and I do know. I think Andy would have liked to have done it again, and you know, I was hoping you guys weren't going to say that, you know, Mark England snubbed Andy Murray in his last hurrah. You know,
you can arrange it.
You know,
that's how we're starting tomorrow night's preview.
Yeah. Excuse me. And you know, I spoke to him this morning. I spoke to him yesterday, and he's a wonderful athlete in his own right, an Olympian in his own right. You know, double Olympic champion, and he chooses to live in the village. He doesn't have to. He chooses to do that. The special moment for me when you ask about, you know, that must be one of the best things. I actually got him out of bed in 2016. He was tucked up ready for training the next day, and he and Bates' team, I said, I need to speak to Andy, and he went and got him, and Andy thought he was coming down to speak to the headmaster. What had he done? And this kind of thing. And I talked about his legacy back in 2016, which obviously was Wimbledon champion and Olympic champion at that time, and I said some very, very kind things about him and to him about just the person he'd been, and everything about his family, not just his you know, I actually lived in Dunblane, so I knew his grandparents and knew his parents and obviously his brother as well. And he was absolutely speechless, and talks about it quite openly. He was absolutely speechless, and that was a very, very special moment. And it was my first Olympic Games as chef de mission, so you know, I was. I was pleased to choose somebody of the calibre of Andy, as I was with, you know, Hannah Mills and Mo Sabihi in 2020, and as I am with these two. It's fantastic.
Mark, thank you very much for coming to talk to us. We know you've got a lot on your plate.
A busy man. He carries it well, doesn't he?
The busiest man in Paris. Thank you so much for spending the time to talk to us.
There are snacks on the boat, are there, tomorrow night?
There are.
It'll be easier to go to the toilet on the boat than it will be in the stadium, chaps.
There's a cereal, I'm told there's a cereal bar and a bottle of water, so we're getting excited.
Yeah. Just as long as people aren't pelting eggs at you. What a terrible waste that would be.
My pleasure, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great games. We will talk during it, I'm sure. Mark England with us.
Yeah, Mark, chef de mission for Team GB. Leon, it's so interesting hearing Mark talk there about Tom Daley and how he's going to be a flag carrier, and how important that is, and how much of a personal achievement that is, because so much of it is about when you win a medal, when you compete at a games. It's about your personal achievement, about the hard work you've put in. It feels like being put in that position is about your legacy, about what you mean in a wider sense.
Yeah, what a privilege. It's you know, Tom has already reflected, I think he may have even said this in the press, he remembers vividly Beijing 14, as we all do. Well, not all of us, but I do certainly. 14, and he's right behind Mark Foster, so tiny Tom, giant Mark's carrying the flag. Tom's like, wow, like, you know, I'm so close to the flag bearer. Fast forward 5 Olympic cycles and he gets that honour and privilege to lead out the team alongside Helen, and you know, he's delighted. And I must admit, the programme has worked really well, because normally the men's 10 metre synchro previously has been on day 1 of the games, which would have meant that he would have not gone to the ceremony, but because it's on day 3, he's got that window to, you know, get his, get rid of his sea legs if he gets any from the river, and, you know, settle in, and plenty of time to recover to do the job he's here to do. And we've spoken at length, and there's a lovely podcast on BBC Sounds where Tom and I reflect on those 5 games and how much he's looking forward to this. And he's really relaxed. He's you know, he talks about not really caring, but in a really lovely way. It's like he made it so important in the past, and now he is Olympic champion. He's the flag bearer. He's got a 5th for eyes. You know, his husband, his children are going to be there, his wider family. I mean, he's just in a great place, and the good news is his body's hanging on in there at the grandad age of 30. And I'm talking in diving years before everyone gets upset about me saying how old 30 is, but in diving years.
I've just seen a picture. One of the press attaches from Team GB's just showed me a picture of last night when they announced, and he's sitting there in the, apparently it's very opulent, obviously, the British Embassy, and he's sitting there in a throne, on a throne. I mean, I was like, you've got to get that picture out. I
just want to know what he's going to knit to commemorate the occasion. That's what we need to see next, because there will be something, won't there?
Absolutely. There's pressure on him. He's got, less than 24 hours.
Maybe he's knitted the flag.
Yeah.
Oh, God, you imagine?
That's what you would have done, isn't it?
Absolutely. Just got straight down to it.
That and your international competition. You're now an international level knitter as well. Alison Kirbishley, as you've heard, has joined us. Leon Taylor is here, and as Leon said, he has been talking to Tom Daley. There is a podcast that you can listen to on BBC Sounds, but let's hear a brief snippet from that. The first British diver to participate in 5 Olympic Games. It's Tom Daley with Leon.
My number one hope for Paris is getting to the start line in some kind of condition where I can give my best performance. I feel very confident in that. I feel like I've been working with Noah really well, considering we're a new partnership. We haven't even been diving together, I guess 9 months now. So we're still relatively new as a team. But we work really well together, and I honestly, my hopes are just to be able to go out and do a good, decent, solid performance, and most of all enjoy it, and be able to see my kids in the audience when we march out for our parade, to have that experience again, because there was something about all of the previous Olympics, because I hadn't won that Olympic gold medal yet, that I couldn't quite actually let myself enjoy and soak it in. It was always very tunnel vision. You come out, you march out, and you have to be like, I'm an athlete, I have to be professional, I have to go into warrior mode. And actually, this time around, I'm going to enjoy it. I am going to be smiling, I am going to be having fun, and I am going to make sure that I really soak in this atmosphere, because you don't realise how special it is until you're sitting out for 2 years and thinking, oh my gosh, those were some of the best times, and I wish I could do it again. And I've been very lucky to be able to come back within a year and get back in the team.
So here's just a Steve Redgrave moment. Is this your last Olympic Games?
The thing is, if you had asked me this going into Tokyo and I was actually being honest, I would have said yes in Tokyo.
And here
Here I am, and I hear whispers of them bringing in the team event into the LA 28, and I'm like, well, technically then that would be a second home games. But no, I don't know. There's lots of different ways that I could spin this. Yes, it probably should be. Will it be? I don't know. I don't want to go into the competition knowing that it'll be my last dive, but it very well could be. So I think as I get older, you never know whether you'll even be in a position to be able to dive in the next Olympic Games, because as you get older, your body gets more difficult. Will I even make the team? So it could be, but it also might not be.
Leon, he really doesn't want to say it's going to be his last Olympics. He does not want to let that opportunity go, does he?
No, I know. It's it's hard, isn't it? When you decide you're done, it's to utter those words. Sometimes you don't get a choice. So some athletes like myself, my body just couldn't do it anymore. So it was like the medical team were like, "There's your red card. You can't do what you want to do." So the decision is almost made for you. But then when you've got this kind of head decision where Tom is like, well, I could probably do it, or can I? And then so you're in this kind of...
But it's also been over half his life, hasn't it? Actually, you're talking about him being 30 and 14 in Beijing. You probably think about training for Beijing. That's from 11, 12. So actually, nearly 2/3 of his life. You can't... you can't just walk away from that.
Yeah, I know. And what will he do? He's got so many things of interest. Obviously, he reflects so humorously on how he became a world famous knitter. You didn't even know how to knit before. So it was the pandemic. I said to him over Zoom, I said, so the games have been moved. What are you going to do? Had this lovely conversation about yoga and mindfulness, something I'm really passionate about. And he said, I'm going to teach myself to knit. And I chuckled because I thought he was winding me up. But he said, no, I'm going to do it. He said, I think that's going to be a really lovely mindfulness practice. Anyway, so he goes off, and then
there you go.
And now it's a stream to his empire in business, which is thriving and such like. So he'll always have things to do. But when you've been, as you say, Chappers, in love with something so organically since you were like 7 or 8 when he started, to step away from that without an elbow in your ribs is a difficult one.
But this could be a tricky games as well, because the opposition in terms of the Chinese divers is going to be so strong, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a tricky games if you're looking to win another gold. I mean, this pairing, the Chinese pairing, are even stronger than the last pairing, who were brilliant the pairing before. So, there is that history where the Chinese dominance goes. And it's not likely that they're going to be stepping away from that gold. So Tom and Noah are, I would say, a very strong chance for a medal. So it depends how you kind of classify. If you think, if it's gold or nothing, which Tom doesn't have that opinion. So I think this games, you could definitely win his, however many Olympic medals he's won now, kind of 4 he's won, hasn't he? So this could be his fifth medal to go with his collection. And what a way to emulate what he's achieved already.
That's what I sort of was getting at with the question and didn't quite manage to finish it. It's almost like you take the Chinese divers out of the equation, and it's almost like a separate field because they are so dominant.
Yeah, the question always is, will it be a Chinese clean sweep? And for the last several cycles, it hasn't been. No. There's always been one event where it hasn't. An interesting F in Rio, it was Jack Law and Chris Mears who won the gold in the men's 3-metre synchro, and then of course 4 or 5 years later in Tokyo was Tom Daley and Matty Lee taking the gold in surprising fashion and dramatic fashion. And so that's why Catherine Downs and I are just so excited to be in the comms box. And Karen Pickett, just behind me there, is getting ready as well, because it's a straight final in the synchronised diving. So the qualification's been done, so there's no prelims to get yourself into it. There's no heats like there is in the athletics. It's like you're in, every single dive counts. The men do 6 dives, women do 5 dives, and Tom's already said it, anything can happen. And so we could end up with no medals, or we can end up with 4 medals, which would be extraordinary.
And is there strength in depth in British diving now, bearing in mind, goes back to we talk about legacy all the time, don't we, particularly around Olympics, but bearing in mind, Tom Daley's now been doing this for 16, 17 years. Are we seeing the effect of that coming through behind him?
Yeah, I think we're seeing the effect of the lottery funding, which came in my generation, and we went from 36 on the medal table in Atlanta. Sydney, we were right up there in, I can't remember, 11th or 12th. Athens, my games, when I won British diving alongside Peter Ward, British diving's first Olympic medal in 44 years. And then it's the Tom Daley, and now there's this strength across the sport. I'm really excited about the women's side of British diving. We've got Andrea Spendolini-Syriac, so dad's out here, famous dad. It's just this lovely spotlight shining on diving once again, even with the Tom Daley, who's still burning brightly, if you like, from an interest point of view. We've got fantastic chances in the women's events, which we haven't had at an Olympic Games. I think the last medal we won is in 1960 in the women's event. So this could be, a record-breaking event in the women's side of the sport. So the strength in depth, yes, there is. I mean, diving's quite a niche sport, Chappers. So you can never say we've got the depth China has or some of the bigger countries, but we've got the quality that's coming through. And the world would be a lonely place without the heroes. And there's plenty of heroes, both male and female, in the sport of diving in Great Britain.
Do you think there's a reason why the women's side has taken a little bit longer to reach this point than the men's did?
I don't know, actually. I think it all comes down to belief, isn't it? And until someone steps up and goes, actually we can do it. And I don't know what what the reasons are behind that. You can kind of see the breakthrough.
So did you feel the effect of you winning your medal? Did you see the sort of domino effect from that?
Totally, yeah. That breakthrough moment. And of course, you're in a sport which is judged. So the judges are influenced, unconscious bias. They're like, oh, Great Britain are good now. And now the divers from Great Britain actually get marked so much more favourably than we did in the old days.
In my day, Atlanta, what were the divers doing? They were selling their kit. Yeah. That's what they were doing. we didn't have lottery funding, and they hit headlines. You know, there wasn't a lot to talk about in Atlanta. 1 gold medal, of course, says Steve. Yeah. And we came back, and I remember that was my first games, and we came back. It was almost a head hang low, you know. You do not be proud to say you went to the Olympic Games, because Atlanta was the one where it was disastrous. And the big headlines were the divers stood selling their kit on the streets of Atlanta.
So much money though. We could sell pin badges for like $40 back in '96. I sold a jumper for $250. Well, I can't say for sure whether I was selling my kit or not, but the other divers.
You showed a jumper,
a TGB,
for $250 in
1996 on the boulevard in Atlanta.
Hang on, I've still got that kit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Vintage. Oh. Here I come.
And let's put it in context, because we were all like amateurs then. There was no funding at all. At that time, I just finished my A-levels, and I'd moved up to the High Performance Centre in Sheffield, and we were signing on, as job seekers allowance and looking for work, but couldn't find any, so we could train 5 or 6 hours a day to try and keep up with the rest of the world. So the lottery funding made such a difference to just kind of give us a level playing field.
Yeah. We'd have had to fill with any old nonsense in 1996, wouldn't we?
As opposed to now.
As opposed to now.
No more nonsense now.
Yeah.
Leon,
our bits are nonsense, not that of our guests, I hasten to add.
Leon, thank you. We obviously talked plenty of time during these Olympics. Tom Daley's full interview with Leon is on BBC Sounds now on our All About Olympics podcast. Let's move on to the athletics then. We'll come on to everything Team GB in a little while, because there's a lot to talk about there. Is Noah Lyles going to be the face of this Games for athletics?
If you're talking to Noah Lyles, then yes.
Well, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Look, without a doubt, he's cutting through, he's punching through. And I think more so, once every 4 years, the Americans realise they've got very good track and field athletes, because for the rest of the time they don't care.
No.
And he's on daytime shows, Kelly Clarkson. What makes me laugh is that I've been following Netflix.
Yeah.
He has fronted, obviously, Sprint. What's made me laugh this week is, if you're following on social media, he's been, obviously, the American team are so excited to meet him. And everyone's like, I've met the world's fastest man. And all of us within athletics are going, well, technically that's not true. Technically, he's actually the 4th fastest you'd find going in. But it doesn't matter, and he doesn't care. And you can't,
Well, we live in a post-truth world.
Look, he came to London last week. He has, without doubt, punched through, and that's what he's trying to do. And without doubt, he shouldn't win on paper, but when you're lining up against Noah Lyles, he wins in the mind. He's such exactly what you expect a sprinter to be like.
I was going to say, should we hear from him? Or do you want to go deeper into the post-truth world? Should we hear from him?
Let's hear the truth.
All right, let's hear from him. Here he is on his personality and why it's important to him.
All my outfits are based off of how I feel or how I want to be perceived. So if I'm feeling, very exuberant, or if I'm feeling like I want to be bright, I'm going to wear bright colors. Of course, maybe a lot of flashy jewelry. And if I want to be more like calm and moody, I'll probably wear a lot of dark colors, but it'll have like a lot of attachments and stuff like that. Or maybe I'll just see a piece of clothing that I'm like, yeah, I like that idea, and I'll center the whole outfit around it. I work on my body for 364 days. I might as well show it off. So we went with the holes in the shirt, and I loved the pants because I felt that they were kind of Florida vibe, and we just did our thing.
How excited are you about Paris?
I'm very excited. This is way different than Tokyo. No pandemic to stop anybody. I'm excited to see what an Olympics actually look like.
So you're hoping for 3 golds, the 3-peat. Mm-hmm. Talk to us about that and what your mindset is going into that.
The way I view the 3-peat is, I had the blueprint last year in Budapest with 2023, and it went so well that I don't feel that we have to add too many things. We're already on the right path. All we're doing is making our weaknesses stronger. It's gaining traction, and it's working.
How would it feel to have 3, or 1 Olympic gold medal, but certainly 3 Olympic gold medals?
I'm pretty excited. I'm just saying like that because I will already be submitting my name into a book of people that the list is so short. I was born into the sport of athletics or track and field. I was born around Olympians, 5-time Olympians, 2-time Olympians, Olympic champions, Olympic medalists, Olympic finalists. Going to the Olympics in my family was almost seen like getting your driver's license. Just something you decide to go do. And I realized how tough it was to actually make that team and then actually get there and get the medal. And I feel that since I've been able to do that in the hardest part of what the Olympics has probably seen, I'm going to be able to survive the best part.
He talks so well. He says, if you don't have main character energy, track and field ain't for you. And we kind of want that, particularly, as you say, in the 100-metre sprinters. We want to see that from them.
We do, and he winds up his competitors no end. Rumours are this week he hasn't turned up at practice for relay, which is huge because, yes, they might have 3 of the 4 fastest men when you're all lining up, but if you don't practice, we all know what can happen. So not drilling is a huge thing, and when he's making big statements like I want to get 3, he's actually wanting to get 4 because he wants to be picked for the 4x4 as well, which really annoyed a lot of and he's already winding Quincy Hall up, who's one of the 400 favourites from America. And it's great. Well, look, we do.
But what's your take on him? Is he doing that to motivate himself?
Yeah,
or is he doing it to kind of to give a kick up the backside to his teammates? He's
definitely realised, because he didn't do it in Tokyo. He didn't come away with the gold, he was very, very vocal about his mental health then, and he came out and he has suffered severe depression. He is a very complex character, and he talks a lot about kind of his upbringing and his asthma as a child, and he has got a good story to tell. But he was born to run, and I think even when in that year where everyone was like, athletics is dead, Bolt's retired, everyone was searching for the new Bolt, and he just emerged at that time, and he's a beautiful runner to watch. At his absolute prime, he is beautiful to watch, and I think him with his coaching setup, he's just got it right now, and he has this he wound all the NBA guys up and the NFL guys when he won the world title last year. In his press conference he said, world champion of what? You guys call yourselves the world champion. Well, that went really viral, and the NBA guys hated it, and so he's actually enjoyed stoking the fire.
But yeah, I mean, you talked about the Olympics don't start till the athletics starts as a joke with Leon, but a good Olympics needs a well-known men's 100 metres Olympic champion.
Yeah, it
doesn't it? I mean,
it does. It's the blue.
They can't go under the radar, the men's 100 metre Olympic champion.
No, they can't. And actually, it is hard because the head-to-heads and the stars of our sport are going to come out in probably the middle distance, and obviously Mondo in the pole vault. Yeah. But you're right, everybody, and that's why Netflix did a program called Sprint. We were all waiting for this. When are athletics going to get their big time? And of course, when you look at the way that golf did it, tennis did it, rugby've done it, it's very easy because it's one sport. Our sport's effectively 20 different sports.
But if he hadn't have done it, do you think not that there'd be a shrug of the shoulders at without forget the British interest, because obviously that's a different matter of why people would be watching, but just to sort of, here's this 8, still this 9, because there's still the shadow of Bolt.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, I still think Bolt is bigger. I was in Manchester for our Olympic trials the other week, and Bolt is still on he's advertising whatever it was he was advertising on a billboard. I don't know whether Noah will ever cut through in that way, but he is definitely a star of art. We cannot get away from that. He'll be around for another Olympic cycle without a doubt. It's in LA. He wants to do it in his own backyard, and he loves all of the trappings that come with it. He thinks he's a musician. He's brought out a record a couple of years back.
He thinks he's a musician. I love it. So scathing.
I didn't. He loves his fashion. That's the walk-ins have been his thing now, and he's taking athletes with him. And obviously the new Michael Jackson.
Michael Johnson.
He's not back. No, Michael Johnson.
Moonwalking.
Wow. Michael Johnson's new athletic competition that he's having next year. You know, it's waiting for the Noah Lyles kind of entrance
to be fair, Ali, don't take this the wrong way, but his music may be different to your music.
It probably is. It probably is.
But it's one thing being a star, which he undoubtedly is. Yeah. It's another thing being the best, which is what he wants to be. And if he's not turning up for training, is he putting the work in to be the best?
Well, when you're not turning up to the relay practices, you know, if there's going to be beef in the relay team, that's, you know, it will show in the medals. So I think you're right. He has to back it up. So he has to come away. The two events that he can control are the individual, the 100 and 200. 200's without doubt his best. He only did his personal best in London last week, but there are still guys quicker than him. They're younger than him. You know, our own Zarnell Hughes, I think, had he not got a false start in Tokyo, that was his chance to win the Olympic title. He's been injured. He hasn't raced an awful lot. But what we saw in London, you know, he's had 2 weeks to turn it round. If you're lining up against Noah Lyles, if he gets in your head, I think Noah Lyles is winning.
We'll hear from Dina Asher-Smith in just a moment. Where are the British men in this?
Zarnell Hughes, obviously, is probably he's the granddad of the team, because we've got this new find in Louis Hinchliffe. You know, amazing NCAA's champion, coached by a certain Carl Lewis. I mean, you know, if you've got him in your back pocket, then, you know, somebody who's got 9 golds. I don't think that Louis is going to get close to the medals, but if he could get in the final, that's something. And he's running 9.95, you know, and he ran again and he held his own, ran 9.97. The times are not Bolt-esque. I think if you can run low 9.8, I think you're going to get onto the podium. And Zarnell Hughes can do that. It's just, has he had the racing time to be able to get ready for Paris?
Well, as Mark said, we're going to turn our attention to the women's sprints. Dina Asher-Smith split from her longtime coach John Blackie after 19 years. She's gone to train with Edric Floriel in Austin in Texas. This is the 2-time Olympic bronze medalist on her big move and heartbreak in Tokyo in 2021.
I'm so comfortable with what happened in Tokyo. Like, obviously, like, it was horrible and blah 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 blah, like, so that was not fun, but it was just, it's in the past. But I just kind of breezed through this year, and I was like, oh yeah, 4 years ago or 3 years ago this happened, what a wild time. And I think because so much has changed, and I'm not the same athlete, I'm not the same person that I was before in so many different ways, but also the fact that, like, I've just moved halfway across the world and everything is so different. I kind of don't relate to that anymore in a really positive way. Like, it is heartbreaking and very hard, but firstly, show me an athlete that has not had some up and downs and I will show you a... No, I'm joking. No, I'm completely upfront. Even if whether it's public or private, everybody has those ups and downs. There's even, like, quite a lot of the girls we race with, quite a lot of the girls that I'm seeing around, girls and guys that have not had the easiest build-up. Like, it's track and field. It will rip your heart out, stomp on it, and you've got to rebuild it and put it back in, you know? That's just the sport we're in. But it's done, you know? It's cool.
Approaching a championship with a new coach, has he given you an inkling of psych, how he's going to work psychologically?
Like, and I think I've been prepping that as well. Like, when we've got rounds, like, we've done trials, we've done Euros, which isn't quite the same, but I'm a very big communicator. Like, when I came to Coach Flo, we knew that we wanted to make this period count, and we knew that we had to be very upfront with communication, very upfront with openness. So when he wanted to see more from me, wanted to see change, he's been very direct, and kind of what I've been needing, where in the past I might have, like, you know, I mean, I wouldn't have to hint because John knew me like the back of his hand. I wouldn't really have to hint. John would already know. But I've just had to get used to really communicating and making sure that I've turned over every stone, because I think I have a responsibility to the work that we've put in this year to make that happen. And but I'm cool.
Dina Asher-Smith being very cool with Alison Kirbishley, who's with us in this bistro in Paris at the moment. I think she does sound incredibly relaxed. How deep do you think that goes? Is that how she is coming into these games?
Yeah, I mean, the move for her has been absolutely the right move, and you could hear it there. I mean, she practically interviewed herself. I had to sort of keep... I want to get a word in. She didn't race as well as she'd hoped she was going to in London, but she's coming here so fresh and ready. It's almost like you've rewound the clock and you've got another Dina from she's got another 8 years on the clock now, because it scared me talking to her about the fact that she never broke races down. She didn't, lots of stuff that you go, hang on a minute, you've been a sprinter for how many years? 19 years of her life. Started with John Blackie when she was 13 or whatever it was, 12 or 13. So she's now learning a different technical aspect to her racing, and it is showing. I mean, it's not going to be easy for her. We've talked about Noah Lyles. There's a female equivalent in Sha'Carri Richardson. I mean, she is a ball of fire. And obviously the Jamaicans, Shelley-Ann Fraser-Pryce. There's no reigning champion, so we're going to get a new female sprint champion. Elaine Thompson-Herah didn't make it through. And in fact, we're going to get a new champion in the 1, the 2, the 4 and the 8. We haven't got reigning champions. So I think she gets to the final. That will be the test. It's can she get the rounds and can she get to the final and deliver, but it's going to be tight.
You mentioned the 8. Let's talk about the 8. Let's combine it with the men's 1500 as well, because there's probably a buzz around British middle distance running for men and women that there hasn't been for, well, you tell me how many years.
Well, a lot of years.
For them both at the same time.
It's phenomenal. And you were asking Leon about the diving, kind of the legacy of that. Right now we are in this real golden period. What I saw in Keely Hodgkinson at the weekend in London, phenomenal, breaking 1:55. I bumped into her the next morning on the train. She was coming out here, and she genuinely believes she can run 1:53. She genuinely believes she can do the world record. Whether she does it here is another thing. I said to her, concentrate on just winning the gold. Yeah. She has been the only. I can't believe we're talking about her when she's 22. She's already got. I bumped into her the next morning on the train. She was coming out here, and she genuinely believes she can run 1:53. She genuinely believes she can do the world record. Whether she does it here is another thing. I said to her, concentrate on just winning the gold. Yeah. She has been the only. I can't believe we're talking about her when she's 22. She's already got an Olympic silver medal and 2 world silver medals behind her. And then on to, and that's not forgetting Phoebe Gill, who's 17, who will be joining them, and obviously Gemma Reekie, who finished 4th and finished behind her in London at the weekend, again running 1:56 low. And then you move on to the guys, and obviously we've got the 2 former world champions in Jay Whiteman, who's didn't qualify for the 15, he's in the 8, and then Josh Kerr, and obviously that head-to-head is mouth-watering with Jakob Ingebrigtsen. They're talking trash at each other, and it's brilliant. We love it.
Who needs it more?
That's really interesting. Jakob, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh is, if you've watched there was a documentary last week on Path to Paris that the National Lottery did with Keely, and Josh is in it, and Josh is doing the Noah thing. He's absolutely talking himself up and saying, I'm not coming away with anything but gold. But then so's Jakob, and he beat Jakob in Eugene at the beginning of the season, and I think that was probably the worst thing, because you did stoke the fire then and poke the bear. Yeah. So he and since then Jakob's just got better and better, and is a new father. He's got a different outlook on life, but it hurt him losing the World Championship 2 years on the trot to 2 different Brits.
And yet it all looks so optimistic for Team GB going into the athletics. You think about the performance in Tokyo compared to the performance in the World Championships. We're now coming into Paris off the back of, as we started off by saying, some brilliant performances, particularly at London. in something that feels probably as close to a home Olympics as you can get. It all feels like it is building momentum.
Yeah, and the one thing that we failed to do in Tokyo is bring home the gold. And when you don't get a gold, yes, we got 5 medals, but when you don't get a gold, and swimming and diving do, then it kills you. It doesn't help the morale of the team. And this, I would be really surprised if we don't get 2, possibly 3 individual golds. And that would be massive. You know, I mean, we've just been celebrating, you know, the programme that we put out last week about Super Saturday, you know, and you just think back to that night and think, we're never going to have, we'll never have a night like that again in athletics. But we had that period where you put Mo Farah on the track, well, there's your 2 medals straight away, you've got 2 golds. You know, we had Jess, you know, and these guys, you know, that did filter over into Rio, and Mo was able to do it again. Jess got a silver, Greg got a bronze. But then we were then moving into this new era, and we're now, you know, Matt Hudson-Smith going into Paris, world number 1, Molly Caudry, world number 1, Keely Hodgkinson, world number 1. All of a sudden, they've got to deliver.
Just finally, for us all, you know, talk about it being a home games. Do we expect a lot of Brits to travel to it'd be a home game back home for watching and listening, because the times are exactly the same, completely different to Tokyo and Rio? I don't know, just have you heard tales of how many are coming out?
Yeah, I don't know, but certainly from a diving point of view, they've been grabbing as many tickets as possible. I think Tom's family and friends have got a ridiculous number. It's been not a huge venue either, except for the diving, and people just can't wait. They missed out so much on Tokyo, so it's just coming out in full force.
Yeah, and I think certainly my friends and colleagues that I've been in touch with, you can still get tickets. And I think that was because the Olympic organising committee just got silly with some of the prices, were obscene. But now you can still go on and get morning sessions, and, you know, it's not silly. So I hope they do. I mean, there's never going to be a chance for the next, 2 Olympic cycles for it to be back in Europe.
I have to sell one of Leon's jumpers to afford a ticket, by the sounds of it.
Ali's got her own.
I'll dig it out, quick, get it. Mom, get it out the wardrobe.
Look, thank you very much to both of you. Thank you to all, I guess. Just a couple of things that are going on at the moment. Emma Hayes' USA are off to a flyer in their first group game. They're 3-0 up against Zambia at half-time. South Africa into the semi-finals of the men's rugby sevens. They've beaten New Zealand, and they'll play France, who have beaten Argentina 26-14.
Yeah, thank you very much to everybody who's joined us this evening. Tomorrow we'll be back with the opening ceremony coverage from 7 on 5 Live. The cricket team are here next with a preview of England, West Indies and the 3rd test, which starts tomorrow. That's after the BBC News with Jill Mackenzie.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
The Independent Office for Police Conduct says there's a robust investigation after a police officer was filmed kicking a man in the head at Manchester Airport. Greater Manchester Police has suspended an officer. A solicitor representing the man's family says they're traumatised. Stephen Roberts was a Deputy Assistant Commissioner in the Met and former Director of Police Training.
There are no on the ground. What we've witnessed is not the use of minimum force. What we witnessed looks far more like retribution and somebody who has completely lost control of their temper.
The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres says the planet is becoming more dangerous.
All right, people, welcome once again. Zambia OLIMPICOS football here. So second half here between USA and the Zambia Olympics 2024. It is USA 3, Zambia 0. Second half has just begun, and I'm going to bring you the commentary as the game is in play live like that. Yep, guys, so it's going to be USA with the ball right now. It's going to be Coffee finds Dunn with the ball here in the midfield area, gives it back to this is going to be Abed with the ball here for the US, finds Kima, gives it to Davison, and now it's going to be the Kima with the ball here, long ball into the box. And so the Zambia girls that have dispossessed, it's going to be a throw in here for USA, guys. Yep, guys, so Zambia OLIMPICOS football here. If you are tuning in here, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. There's limited coverage here. I can't bring you the radio commentary, but then I'm just going to bring you my live reaction here as the game's in play live like that. So here it's going to be throw in for USA. Yep, people. So USA absolutely trashing Zambia here. 3-0. 49 minutes have been played here, and it is still, the ball is, USA have been dominant. The US women's national team have been dominant in this game. They are controlling the game. But then, guys, they are mounting another attack here. Williams gives to Rodman. Rodman finds Fox in the midfield area for the US, gives it to Dimar, and now it's going to be advantage for the US. Good possession football here from USA, finds Davidson gives it to Kofi, and now it's going to be done in the left hand side, takes on his man, gives it to Mwamba, recovers the ball here for the Zambian. Possession lost again, picked up again by Zambia. Zapping half, finds Wape. Now it's going to be Naji, the ball here, finds Chanda here, gives it to Siampiko. Now it's going to be Wemba again in the midfield area here for Zambia. Possession lost by Zambia in the midfield area, picked up by Horan gives it to Fox here for the USA, ball into the box. And now it's going to be USA trying to mount an attack here, possession lost, and that's going to be a clearance there from Zambia. The guys, American football here, 50 minutes at the dot, Paris Olympics. It is USA 3, Zambia 0.
This week.
India has got a very good record away. Why is he still in the team now? England need a number 8, and there's no obvious other candidate to do that. Now Broad has gone. England might, if England were going to change a spinner, they might have had Tom Hartley, they might have had Rayan Ahmed, who were other candidates. They haven't gone that way. Bashir is a genuine number 10 or 11, and that's a really important role for Chris Woakes to play in this team. I was talking to some other journalists over a curry in Nottingham last week, and I said I could actually see a way that Woakes does get
expectations for me are two different things. Like, success would be qualifying for Europe again. That's a success. But for me, if we don't, I'm not getting on Lopetegui. I'm not going to say it's a failure, because in the first season, stabilise us, keep us out of any relegation troubles, away from that, play better football and promote some youngsters. That's my expectations of what I want to see. But like I said, success, I can't call that. Success is qualifying for Europe or a trophy, you know, and I'll take either.
And with that in mind, Dan, next season, who are you hoping to see come in to help you get to the promised land? Is there anyone in particular that you're hoping to sign? What positions do you think you need to strengthen? Would you like a striker to arrive?
Yeah, striker is absolutely critical. That is huge. We had Danny Ings, who we've signed, who I think has scored about 4 goals in 18 months. He scored one in pre-season, a good free kick, but he's just not doing it for the price with the wages we're paying. Antonio is, I think, going to be an impact sub. He's not at that level anymore to lead the line. But we're trying to get this deal over the line for John Duran from Aston Villa, who could be a very promising young player. They're proven to be quite difficult to deal with and quite stubborn. I think that could be an exciting young prospect of a talent that we can have then to bring that age down and have that pace and that finishing ability sort of shown glimpses of. I would take him. I think if they're going to keep playing hardball, Villa, Tony is there, Ivan Toney. No one's really going for Ivan Toney. Slap down a bit. This 40 million that Villa want, go to Brentford and go, right, there's 40 mil. They may ask for a bit more, but then you get Tony, who's proven he can bang in goals in the Prem. So that's who I would like to see us go for, but I'd be happy with Duran if Villa can stop messing us about.
Dan, I'm amazed when you mentioned Danny Ings, you didn't say former Southampton striker. I was really expecting that.
They want him back. They want him back. Southampton.
Imagine how much Dan would boo him if he went to play for Southampton again, but then came back to play at West Ham.
If they take him off our hands, it's all forgiven. Southampton's fine.
Dan, brilliant stuff. Dan Lawless there from West Ham.
Cheers, Dan.
Fan TV. Look out for him at the London Stadium when West Ham play Southampton.
I love irrational hatred in football. I just love
Do you have a team you irrationally hate?
No, like being a Chelsea fan, we sort of think that we're rivals with everyone.
Yeah.
We genuinely think that 100%. Everybody's our rival. Yeah. But no,
Mine's Brighton. Mine's Brighton. I don't know why. I can't. I think they beat Newcastle in 2 FA Cup third rounds in a row when they were in the Championship. Newcastle in the Premier League, and also we battled them for the Championship back in 2017. And since I just don't like that, and I hate this. They're the best run club.
No,
it just winds me up.
Yeah.
It just winds me up.
I had a little bit
for
of
no reason. I'm sorry, Brighton.
Leicester, while we're at it, then Leicester. Yeah,
what? Just because they won the league?
They beat us 2-1. I remember Hasselbank scored. It is at Filbert Street. I was only about 15, and I got punched when I was walking back to the station.
Oh, sorry about that.
So that's my irrational.
The thing is, that's a rational reason. There's no reason why I don't like Brighton.
Yeah,
reason.
I'll always be fairly happy for like Leicester not to win the league or to go down.
Were you gutted when they
beat us in the cup final? Yeah, it's a double whammy for me. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Talking of Chelsea, you were talking about them before the break, of course, Rory, and you very much weren't happy with these links between Atletico Madrid and Conor Gallagher. Terry is a Chelsea fan who's given us a call on 03717 223344. Terry, are you feeling as miserable as Rory Jennings about Chelsea at the moment?
I'll tell you quickly about me. Yeah, I've been going Chelsea since '79. Started on the white wall. If I was feeling really frivolous, I paid £1 and sit in the West benches. I'm in the Matthew Argent upper now. When I'm sitting here thinking about what to say, I completely agree. I hope Conor sees out his contract, goes for nothing, fills his boots.
So do I.
Chalobah's got about 3 years on his contract. While I'm sitting here, of all the years I've been down Chelsea, in recent years, one of my biggest disappointments at leaving Chelsea was Trevor's brother, Nathaniel, being come up through the ranks, paid at every level, was allowed to leave for Watford for $5 million. What's that all about? He may not have had a stellar career at Chelsea, but he was never given a chance.
Yeah, I agree. Do you remember when we went to Man City that year, Terry? Do you remember when we went to Man City? Yeah. And he got right stuck in. We beat them 3-1 away. It was actually on the way to winning the league.
I was there.
Yeah, so was I. He's brilliant, wasn't he?
Yeah. Home and away season ticket, I am.
No, he was brilliant. Are you as feeling as bereft of any kind of enthusiasm?
I'm very disillusioned. I keep getting. My little niece sends me Insta things of players coming in from the States and God knows where else I've never heard of. Yeah. They might well turn out to be good. But if we're getting rid of Conor, he's got 1 year to go. Stay. Don't go, and don't be pushed out Trevor either. Great player, fantastic season. What's it all about with him? And the fact we've gone through that end of June FPR thing, haven't we gone past that thing where we need to leave?
It's gone now. It's gone now, yeah.
So why do we need to sell Conor? Offer him a contract. He should just serve it. If you don't want to leave, stay. What are they going to do? Put him in, not play him. The Chelsea fan, that's going to go down well, isn't it?
Yeah.
To play him.
Terry, just very quickly, earlier on, we were talking about the new Chelsea. Chelsea kit, and Rory revealed to me that he thinks that 12 years old is the cut-off to wear a replica football shirt. Where do you stand on that? Do you have one?
Terry doesn't wear a replica shirt.
I don't wear it. I don't think I'm that great in it. But I know people that do, the similar age. Yeah. My niece is 15. Yeah, my nephew wears it. He's 18. But yeah, I think there might be a cut-off point. But then if you're in your 50s or 60s, it look good in it, then it don't be bad, does it?
But how rare is that, Terry? That's the problem. Yeah. How rare is that?
Yeah, I've got one. Do you know what I've got at home, Rory?
Go on.
I've got indoors, after that 5-0 Leeds game, when we won the title, I've got Pat Nevin shorts.
Oh, that's superb.
Pat Nevin shorts, after that 5-0 Leeds game.
Yeah.
Have you ever washed them, Terry? You've never washed them, have you?
With Ken Bates. I was on the pitch with Ken Bates at the end of that game in the 80s.
Yeah, God, that's amazing. Yeah, keep hold of them.
Sheffield Wednesday away, 3-0 down at half-time. I love it all. I love all the players. I've had pictures done when I was a kid on the pitch. Fond memories, and I'll go forever.
Yeah, they were the glory days, weren't they, Terry? Not like that now, is it?
You know what? I missed the second division days in the 80s when I go up to Main Road. Grimsby away last game of the season. We finished above Sheffield Wednesday goal difference, 88 points, I think.
Boys in blue in Division 2, isn't it, Terry?
I loved it. I loved them seasons. They're up there with me with any seasons in the Premier League.
Terry, great call. Thanks for coming on, mate. Terry, the Chelsea fan, who's about as gutted as you, really, isn't he? There, Rory. By the way, we've had a text from Ash, the Newcastle fan. He has an irrational hatred of Hull City because of Phil Brown's celebrations when Newcastle were relegated in 2009. You bang on, Ash.
Bang on.
You are bang on, Ash. I remember that so well.
And the song that their fans
gutted.
do. And the song that their fans do, where they try and impersonate tigers. You've seen them do that? They start clawing at each other.
I'm really surprised Ash there has picked Hull from that day over Aston Villa, who actually relegated Newcastle, because
their fans were loving it. Villa fans were loving it, weren't they?
They got out the sob on the time. Yeah. And who's your next Messiah, Anton Deck? I'll tell you what, I've never forgotten that. But do you know what? Villa clawed it back a bit because, and this goes back to Brighton, they clawed it back a bit when we won the Championship in 2017 because Jack Grealish scored a last-minute goal against Brighton, which meant Newcastle did win the league. So
they've actually won.
Hull City for Phil Brown's celebration is a great shout, Ash. Let us know. Do you have a completely irrational hatred of another football club? Has nothing to do with rivalry or anything like that.
I love how West Ham Dan Lawless has sparked this entire conversation now. Irrational hatreds in football. Any players, any clubs that you just have no love for no reason.
For no reason. No rational reason at all. Give us a text, 81089. This is Transfer Insiders on TalkSport.
Whatever kind of football fan you are, get set for the brand new season when we play Coral's Football Fan Face-Off all next week on the Superstar Breakfast on TalkSport.
It is game on!
Register to play now at talksport.com/win and you could bag the ultimate new season setup, including a 4K home cinema system, retro football shirts and more.
Absolutely magnificent!
Play Coral's Football Fan Face-Off all next week on the Superstar Breakfast on TalkSport with Coral. We're here for it. 18+, gambleaware.org.
For our new development project, we need a kitchen and bedrooms partner that means business.
Just say Wren.
I'm ready for someone who can deliver, whatever my timescale or budget.
Just say Wren.
With a huge choice of styles turned around in under 10 days.
And made in their own UK factories.
Yeah.
Just say Wren. Wren Contracts has the scale and expertise to make sure every project, from fast-moving high-rise developments to social housing, deliver to plan. So just say Wren and visit wrencontracts.com today.
Hawksby and Jacobs on TalkSport with Toolstation. Unfiltered football debate done right.
City football team, Pep Swiss Guardiola.
Big hitting cricket comment.
Was the selector of that brilliant Take That track, Uma Gurav. Uma, very good evening to you. Now, what are some of the biggest stories at the moment on TalkSport.com? I believe one of them involves a certain Emil Smith Rowe.
It does. TalkSport understand that Fulham are confident of signing him. It's going to be a club record deal worth about £35 million, we think. And Arsenal are reluctant for him to go, but it looks like that is going to happen. Obviously, he's come through the club's academy. He's been there since he was 10 years old, really close to his heart. He's made 115 appearances overall, but in the last Premier League season, he only made 356 minutes on the pitch. And actually, since 2022, it's just been double that, 716 minutes. So it's not going well. And obviously, are Arsenal making a mistake letting him go? Maybe. But personally, as a player, even if you have that connection, sometimes it's just time to go now.
Yeah, it's really funny you mentioned there, Uma, and I want your view on this, Rory, that Arsenal are reluctant to let him go, because as you've just said, the game time, and it's understandable, I mean, Arsenal have a very talented squad, but the game time is not enough for a player of his high quality. Rory, do you think that Fulham's the right move for him as well?
I think it's the right move for them. I think it's a great signing for Fulham. Absolutely. I think, look, Fulham are a prestigious old London club. I like them. I think that they certainly are appealing for various reasons. But Emile Smith-Rowe can be, if he can stay fit, an excellent player. Like, really top tier. Like, I remember it wasn't that long ago when Arsenal fans were talking about Bukayo Saka in the same way that they were talking about Emile Smith-Rowe. So I think it would be a brilliant signing for Fulham. For Smith-Rowe, I wonder if he would want to be a bit more aspirational if he were to leave Arsenal. But look, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this article now.
Where do you think his level is, Emile Smith-Rowe? Because you clearly think it's above Fulham.
I think it would depend on fitness, but I think that he would want a club. Fulham's priority will be avoiding relegation, whereas I think Smith-Rowe's priority will be at the very least playing European football.
I think Fulham have established themselves more than that. I do think
Fulham's first priority is always 40 points. Always.
Well, it's of course their priority, but I think they're a good enough side and they have good enough players to not worry as much as other clubs in the Premier League, especially when you look at some of those clubs nearer the bottom. And I think what's interesting for Smith-Rowe, I think, is the fact that there's a potential for Willian to leave very soon. So, and we know that Smith-Rowe can play on the left. Pereira is one of Fulham's best players in the middle in that number 10 role. So he is going to have to fight for his place.
Yeah, he is
in that Fulham side.
They've got a very good manager, Fulham, and they're also linked with Calvin Phillips.
Yes,
so that could there could be a new look Fulham team.
And also bringing Ryan Sessegnon back to the club as well, which again, he's been a player in a way a bit like Smith-Rowe. He's been in the wilderness a bit. Uma, what else have you got for us from the website? A bit earlier we were talking to Dan Lawless about Aaron Wan-Bissaka. What's the latest on that?
So he is set to leave Man United this summer, but he will not be going to West Ham, it looks like, as we previously thought. Instead, apparently he's got eyes for Inter Milan, Serie A winners obviously, but he's kind of turned down West Ham's advances. His 5-year contract at Old Trafford is coming to an end slowly. But it looks like we could be looking at a swap here with him and Denzel Dumfries potentially coming to Man United. Obviously, he's been on Man United's radar for quite some time. I want to put this to you, though. I heard Dean Saunders a couple of days ago talking about how Aaron Wan-Bissaka wasn't good enough for West Ham, he thought. Do you think he's good enough for Inter Milan?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, if Dino doesn't, I think Wan-Bissaka's good enough for West Ham. He's a good player. He's a good defender. That's the thing. It's how you're employing him, isn't it? Because he's a very good one-on-one defender, but we all know going forward he is fairly limited in that aspect. I don't know. What do you think about this?
I think he's a defender who's most comfortable in his own half. What he doesn't want to be is a marauding, overlapping fullback. And if you intend to play marauding, overlapping fullbacks, you can't sign him. Which is why it was a weird signing for Manchester United and why it ultimately hasn't worked out. I'm surprised, Uma. I'm surprised that he's linked with Inter Milan, because if you think about what Inter Milan's ambition will be next season, they're going to be in the European Cup. They were fairly recently in the Champions League final. I rate Wan-Bissaka to a degree, but I don't rate him at this level.
Uma, just finally, earlier we were talking about Ben White and whether he should get this second chance for England, but Andy Townsend, the former Chelsea midfielder, he's had his say on this, hasn't he?
Yeah, interesting debate being brought up here. Andy Townsend believes that Reece James is probably a better fit for England than Ben White. So I just wanted to put this to you. He spoke about how he thinks He's better fit. And obviously, like Kyle Walker, he's a better right back, he said. Trent is miles better than White, he thinks. But this specifically bringing in Reece James. Obviously, James had quite a tough campaign at Chelsea last season. We didn't see him play that many minutes, only 10 times, I think it was, in the Premier League. Whereas White did have his moments of brilliance, right? And teamed up with Saka really well at moments. So is that quite harsh, do you think?
The thing is, I don't know about you, Rory, I agree with Andy Townsend that a fully fit Reece James is a fantastic fullback and probably England's best. But we're talking about when we get to the 2026 World Cup. Do we know if Reece James is going to be fully fit? That's always the question mark over here.
The problem is never the quality with Reece James. There is never a debate as to how good Reece James is. There is a huge debate as to how fit Reece James is. Like, Reece James could end up being one of those players that we say is the best in his position in the world, but is ultimately fit for 12 games a season. And if he is that means he isn't as good, because ultimately being fit is part of being a good player. So Andy Townsend is correct, I think. It's just going to come down to Reece James's fitness.
Yeah. Uma, thank you very much indeed. Thanks for bringing the brilliant music as well.
Thank you for your football knowledge, Uma, but I think your music selections were horrible.
Yeah, as Rory said, he got a migraine.
Agree to disagree, Rory.
A bit earlier we were talking about whether you have an irrational hatred of a club. I brought up that mine's Brighton for pretty much no reason. I'm a Newcastle fan. Rory's was Leicester. We've had a text here saying, I now have a rational, newly discovered respect for Leicester. That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. There's another text here from Aaron, the Spurs fan. That's brilliant. Aaron, the Spurs fan, I've got an irrational hatred for Swansea City after playing them away from home in the year we were in the title race. Fabianski used every trick in the book to waste time, and we scored 2 late goals to nick it 2-1. Have that. That's a good one from Aaron, I think, there. And then Greenie, the Hull fan. I'm a Hull City fan, and I have an irrational hatred of Phil Brown. Complete cringe. Nice one there, Greenie. The Rugby Sevens is well underway in the Olympics. TalkSport's Alfie Reynolds is watching for us. Australia in action. How are they getting on, Alfie?
Yeah, they're just about to get underway in the final match of the evening. Australia against the USA in the 4th quarter-final. But Fiji, the double gold medal winners from Rio and Tokyo, they have just held on. They've beaten Ireland 19-15. Heartbreak for the Irish. And possible controversy here as well. Fiji's third and in the end winning try. To me, it looked like there was an obvious knock-on in the build-up. It wasn't given, it wasn't picked up. And as it is, Fiji's unbeaten record in the men's Olympic sevens continues. And that was the third blockbuster quarter-final we've had tonight. Earlier this evening, South Africa upset New Zealand, and France got past Argentina in front of an absolutely bouncing home crowd at the Stade de France. Next up, as I say, final match of the night. Fiji are going to find out their semi-final opponents as Australia meet the USA. That is kicking off in a matter of seconds.
Alfie, thank you very much indeed. This is Transfer Insiders here on TalkSport. We're going to be playing Buy or Sell with Bournemouth next.
Fancy a trip to France? Go with Irish Ferries. Sit back and plug in, or switch off completely. You'll be speaking our language in no time. For a more easygoing way to travel, choose Irish Ferries. Sail Dover to Calais from just £78 one way. Now that's ferry fare. Get on board, you'll understand. Book the sailing you want right now on irishferries.com. Terms and conditions apply. Irish Ferries. See travel differently.
Live music, fabulous food, superstars and supercars. It's CarFest 2024 with BP Pulse. Supercharge your summer with over 500 cars on display, from F1 collections to GT races. There's breathtaking track shows, masterclasses, and even a chance to go for a spin. Plus amazing guests from the worlds of acting, comedy and live music from Richard Ashcroft, Beverly Knight, Deacon Blue and so many more. August Bank Holiday Weekend at Laverstoke Park Farm, Hampshire. Get your tickets now at carfest.org.
TalkSport Bet. If you want to flutter, punters know it's the only place to go. Football, GGs, cricket, golf and Grand Prix are live online casino. Just tap to find it on the app. TalkSport Bet, the broadcast bonus bookie, keeping you on track with all the sporting stats. Steeple chases, even title races, looking after sports fans. You know, cause TalkSport Bet is the app that does all that. It's the only place to go.
18 plus begambleaware.org.
I've just sold my car.
All right.
I got a quote in 30 seconds from We Buy Any Car. Drove to my local branch in 13 minutes, and cash is getting sent to my bank.
Oh, nice.
Just sold my car to We Buy Any Car. Just sold my car to We Buy Any Car.
To find out how much your car's worth in 30 seconds, enter your reg number now at WeBuyAnyCar.com. Admin fee may apply. For more information, visit WeBuyAnyCar.com/info.
Whatever kind of football fan you are, get set for the brand new season when we play Coral's Football Fan Face-Off all next week on the Superstar Breakfast on TalkSport.
It is game on!
Register to play now at talksport.com/win and you could bag the ultimate new season setup, including a 4K home cinema system, retro football shirts and more.
Absolutely magnificent!
Play Coral's Football Fan Face-Off all next week on the Superstar Breakfast on TalkSport with Coral. We're here for it. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Running, jumping, rowing, throwing, riding, punching, shooting, swimming, diving, bouncing, flipping, swinging.
This summer, TalkSport and TalkSport 2 will bring you all the action direct from Paris 2024.
Fighting, kick-flipping, surfing, walking, wrestling, putting, paddling, pinging, ponging and breakdancing.
Over 250 hours of coverage live from Paris on TalkSport and TalkSport 2. Official Olympic broadcaster of Paris 2024.
It's right up there for me.
Mencionadas para engañar, y eso no debería pasar, desgraciadamente sucede.
Escuchamos cómo se ponen de acuerdo para ver quién va a ser la cobradora. El árbitro, ya le hemos dicho, es de Brasil, Ramón Abati. Y el público también aplaudiendo, y fue a lo que fue al estadio. Y perdón, pero esto lo digo muy a propósito de lo lamentable que sucedió ayer. ¿Sí? Los abucheos con Argentina, la invasión al campo, los petardos, todo lo que pasó ayer en ese partido sui generis de Argentina y Marruecos. Aquí la gente fue a disfrutar, fue a aplaudir, fue a ver goles. Y vamos a ver qué pasa en esta jugada. Balón parado para Estados Unidos. Van a buscar el cuarto. Hay una jugadora adelantada que ahora ya se sale. Y después ahí está Zambia tratando de que el balón se vaya para que sea saque de meta. Saque de meta, minuto 76. Y ahí está el público. Y la invitación una vez más para seguir todos los Juegos Olímpicos a través de Claro Sports y nuestros resúmenes. Y por supuesto París de noche. Y vuelvo a decirle a usted que hay un ejército en nuestra redacción y en la producción y en la videoteca y en la edición y en los gráficos y en audio y en toda la gente, el ejército, yo diría, en este partido encabezado por Paulina Rodríguez y Mercedes Cisneros y Gabriel Martínez y Omar Salazar y Judith Romero y Nayeli Rebollo, y la videoteca y edición y Emiliano y el ingeniero Toledo y Gabriel allá en París y su servidor Antonio Moreno aquí en México, y todos mis compañeros simultáneamente en otros partidos, en otras competencias, en otros resúmenes, en otras ediciones, trabajando 3 semanas intensas los Juegos Olímpicos. El grito de USA una vez más, 3-0. Minuto 77. Aquí vienen. Van a buscar el cuarto. Muy largo el balón. No, digo, el protagonismo, Gabriel, que vimos con Horan, con Rodman y con Swanson, pues no, las que entraron todavía no calientan igual.
No, y tampoco al no reemplazar con las mismas posiciones a las que han tenido que ocupar los puestos de estas futbolistas que mencionabas, que han tenido una gran participación, no han podido estar ni siquiera cerca de su rendimiento. Estados Unidos se fue diluyendo, sí tiene la pelota, sí sigue controlando las acciones, pero ya no es el mismo equipo peligroso, inquietante, que generaba permanentemente situaciones de riesgo. Y eso será de alguna forma un triunfo para Zambia, terminar 45 minutos de este segundo tiempo, más los 12 de la etapa inicial, sin recibir goles, ¿eh? Y habla de un buen comportamiento defensivo ante la inferioridad, ante la desventaja.
Allá estaba Banda, terminó resbalando, no le cometieron falta, resbaló. A ver, si yo tuviera un equipo femenil en mi liga, pregunto por esta jugadora. Ya sé que está en China y es del equipo que va perdiendo, pero Bárbara Banda, la jugadora del equipo de Shanghái, para mí ya destacamos a varios de Estados Unidos. Por la número 11, que es sola contra el mundo, yo sí preguntaba cuánto cuesta llevármela a mi equipo, Gabriel.
Sí. Una futbolista fantástica. Digo, no ha podido trascender porque juega en soledad, pero ha demostrado tener mucho carácter, aparte de los temas físicos, mucho carácter, y con los dos perfiles se ha mostrado muy interesante. Y hablando de China, ¿no? Un país que habitualmente tiene presencia y protagonismo en el fútbol femenino, que para su desgracia no han podido participar de estos Juegos Olímpicos. Inclusive tiene una medalla de plata que consiguieron en los primeros Juegos Olímpicos con fútbol femenino, que fue allá en Atlanta 96, donde perdieron la final justamente ante Estados Unidos 2-1. En esta oportunidad, ausente el seleccionado asiático.
Sí, China. Yo me acuerdo de la famosa Sun Wen, una super jugadora. Estados Unidos entonces el domingo juega contra Alemania. Y después Estados Unidos cierra contra Australia el miércoles 31. Ahí se acaba, digamos, la primera fase del fútbol femenil, que tiene tan solo 12 selecciones. Aquí viene otra vez la selección norteamericana. Se van a la punta, cerca del vértice del tiro de esquina, balón atrás. Hay 4 o 5 para intentar el remate. A ver si aquí se da bien el centro. Uno más. Ya se le descompuso como le llegó el balón. No pudo recibir bien, porque ya estaba tratando de hacerlo Sonnet. Y ahora Banda, que va con el 11 al centro, es la única posible receptora de esta jugada. O está terminando en individual y en las manos de la arquera. Ahí está Neuer, que se quedó con ella. Pues sí, llegan cansadas. Cuando ya corrieron con el balón en los pies y quitaron jugadoras, al momento del disparo terminarla, Gabriel, pues ya no hay potencia.
Sí, y me quedo con este comentario, ¿no? Que no saber tomar decisiones en el último tercio de la cancha, porque no era la mejor oportunidad que tenía esta futbolista junto a Nancy, sino que estaba bien colocada en este avance su compañera Banda. Sin embargo, no la buscó, nunca levantó la cabeza e enfiló para adelante sin tener en consideración que había compañeras mejor colocadas. Bueno, la lesión, ¿no? Se le dobla el tobillo al momento de disparar. También hubo un pisotón de la defensora estadounidense. Veremos si puede seguir la número 17 de Zambia o se pide el cambio.
Sí, lamentable sería si no puede continuar. Por lo pronto ya hay una pausa de hidratación. Aunque faltan solamente 9 minutos, en lo que están atendiendo a la jugadora, ya vemos al árbitro brasileño, les dijo, en lo que vienen a atenderla, si quieren ir a refrescarse, y todo el mundo aprovechó. Refrescarse e instrucciones, ¿no? Particularmente ya se hizo ahí el panel. En el caso de Estados Unidos, salió el técnico, las de la banca, las titulares, todo el mundo, en lo que con mucha parsimonia y tranquilidad entra una camilla para llevarse a la jugadora de Zambia. Ahí está la técnica británica que dirige a los Estados Unidos, Emma Hayes.
Y la verdadera prueba, ¿no? para Estados Unidos será en el próximo partido frente a la selección de Alemania, en un partido que pronto pueda definir quién se queda con el primer lugar de este sector. El partido se disputará en Marsella, así que la selección estadounidense tendrá que trasladarse de Niza hasta Marsella para enfrentar a las europeas.
Marsella. Oye, pues allá se levantó por su pie ya finalmente con Daniel, la número 17. La gente le aplaude. Sí, sí se llevó un tremendo golpe, pero salió afortunadamente por su pie. Y bien lo comentas tú, estar pendientes del próximo partido de Estados Unidos el domingo contra Alemania y el miércoles 31 contra Australia. Por su parte, Zambia va a jugar el próximo domingo. La selección de Zambia estará jugando contra Australia y el miércoles 31 estarán enfrentando a Alemania. Luego ya las que califiquen el sábado 3 ya de agosto se juegan los cuartos de final. Después de la ronda del primer grupo, el sábado 3 de agosto, cuartos de final. Semifinales el martes 6 de agosto. Por el tercer puesto el viernes 9 de agosto. Y la gran final femenil será el 10 de agosto. O sea, un día antes de la clausura.
Nos quedamos con ganas de ver un poquito más, ¿no? De Estados Unidos. Toño, no sé si coincidís. Pudo haber marcado algún otro gol en la segunda etapa, haber conseguido una actuación un poquito más convincente. No digo que haya sido mala, sino que quedó en la falta de compromiso y de actitud en este segundo tiempo, teniendo en cuenta que Zambia, una selección muy inferior, con una futbolista menos, daba oportunidades, prestaba algunas concesiones, sin embargo no fueron utilizadas desde el juego y desde la concreción, porque las pocas oportunidades de esta segunda etapa no tuvo en la eficiencia una referencia para Estados Unidos.
Balón muy largo, pero sí lo alcanzó. Atención, aquí viene Zambia. El público, digamos, el que llegó como imparcial, ya está también aplaudiéndoles para pues, tratar de que animarlas a que consigan el gol. En el fútbol decimos a veces el de la honra, pero bueno, el gol siempre es importante. Aquí hay una falta a favor de Zambia.
Y que por primera vez en esta segunda etapa vemos cómo ha proyectado entre 4 y 5 elementos. Hay 6 futbolistas ahora en ataque para Zambia, no aprovecharon el tiro libre. La primera infracción que tienen con cierto riesgo no la aprovechan y la malogran de esta forma.
Sí, y Estados Unidos evidentemente, digo, queda muy claro, posesión y todo, pero evidentemente, sabiéndose con el 3-0, aflojó el paso. Repito que yo pensé que sabiendo que Alemania también ganó 3-0, se iban a ir para encabezar la tabla, digamos, por uno más con todo. Y sí, lo han buscado. Pero ese agobio, si usted no lo siguió, amigo de Claro Sports o amiga de Claro Sports, en el primer tiempo hubo por lo menos 10 o 15 minutos que era aplastante. O sea, era una tras otra, dos al travesaño y fallaban esa y buscaban otra. En fin, y creo que sí le bajó al acelerador la selección de blanco, la selección de los Estados Unidos.
Fueron 16 aproximaciones, Toño, con 6 tiros de portería en la primera etapa. Esperábamos algo por lo menos similar en esta segunda, sin embargo estuvo muy lejos la estadística de refrendar lo bueno que había hecho Estados Unidos con Horan, con Smith, con la propia goleadora Rodman, que si me preguntás me quedo con su rendimiento como la jugadora del partido, la número 5, autora del primer gol del encuentro.
Y yo también con su look, ¿no?
Muy bonito look, muy jovencita además, 22 años, para la mejor de todo el encuentro.
Sí, no me costó trabajo reconocer a Rodman, la número 5, que ya salió de cambio por ese cabello largo, ondulado, con rastas y rosa. También Rapinoe fue una jugadora que cuando estaba en activo llamaba la atención por eso, por su constante cambio de look. Y aquí vienen saliendo ahora con, repito, mucha tranquilidad. Ya si volteamos a ver el reloj, quedan 4 minutos, si acaso 3, para así terminar esta jornada del fútbol olímpico con el simultáneo de Francia y Colombia, pero pues se jugaron hoy 6 partidos del fútbol femenil.
Colombia, Toño, que se puso a tiro de Francia, el partido va 3-2 para la selección local. Buen cierre, mucho más digno de lo que está haciendo la selección de Colombia, que venía con expectativas, con futbolistas como Caicedo, que juega en el fútbol del viejo continente, con una chance de conseguir medalla para esa nación.
Sí, ya ahora me dijiste, me alertaste y ya volteé a ver exactamente. Estoy muy metido en el nuestro, pero sí, ya vi 3-2. Un 3-0 de Francia a Colombia ya se convirtió en 3-2. No ha terminado, por supuesto, se está jugando también el segundo tiempo. Pero mira, en todos los partidos de hoy, en los 6, hubo goles, y eso es bueno. Tal vez en los que menos, el Brasil 1-0 a Nigeria, por supuesto. Pero los otros fueron 3-0, 2-1, 2-1, 3-0, 3-2. En todos los partidos hubo goles. Aquí viene otra vez la selección de Estados Unidos. Ya la perdieron, repito, este tipo de pases donde se pierde, bueno, no pasa nada, la vuelven a recuperar. Pero no es la intensidad que se tuvo en el primer tiempo. Vean, ya comienzan con parsimonia, a tocar la lateral, a tocarla atrás. Claro, mucho mérito tiene también Zambia, que con una jugadora menos y ante Estados Unidos han podido neutralizar los avances en base a eso, con base en eso, en pegársele a la jugadora que tiene el balón, en estorbar. Atención con esta, que falla porque creo, y ella lo sabe, que Dunn, la número 7, pudo haber dirigido diferente su remate, Gabriel.
Increíble, digo, en la primera observación, sí, entraba franca para darle un cabezazo. No sé si buscó colocarla, pero entraba de lleno y ya la portera vencida como para poder conseguir el cuarto gol en una buena jugada colectiva de lo mejorcito tras un desborde que pierde Estados Unidos la posibilidad de ampliar.
Sí, era Dunn, la número 7 de Estados Unidos. Pues esto apenas está arrancando. Los Juegos Olímpicos se preparan tanto tiempo. Los atletas lo hacen, por supuesto, pero también nosotros en Claro Sports hace mucho tiempo estamos preparando esta extraordinaria cobertura a través de todas las plataformas, de todos los canales, para que usted no se pierda una sola de sus competencias favoritas. Ahora que este es un circo multidisciplinario, pues nosotros tenemos más que nadie. Nosotros tenemos...
She's gonna miss the next match against,
Se van a agregar 4 minutos.
No, not Australia. I forgot who's in this group, Group B. Oh, shit. What happened with Dunn? My bad. Dunn almost scored a goal. Hey, give us that replay, France. Give us that replay. Okay, hold on. I got the replay. Okay. So Bata's running. I mean, she does catch her. It was a foul. That's for sure. It was a foul. It was a foul. Now, was it a red card? It looked like she caught the heel of her. It's unfortunate. It didn't look like it was intentional. It was a very nasty step on the heel. And VAR said that's a rare. So listen, we saw that soft ass play for Zambia because I think they give the red card because she was like the last line of defense. So that foul wasn't technically a harsh foul, but since she was the last line of defense, she got a foul. She got a straight red card. Now with this foul with Ramirez, it was a foul. She got stepped on. So I can kind of understand it being a red, but if she ain't like get a yellow, why can't that just be a yellow? Like, did they forget that this is the Olympics? They just giving straight reds. This VAR, fast break with Rachel and Barbara Banda. Oh, nice pass. Ooh, there we go. They finally got a quick counterattack there. Barbara Banda and Rachel, it's a 1-2 punch there. They have to work together to make it happen. Very, very unselfish from Banda as well to let it off. And Casey Kruger, way to get back. Job well done. Job well done. Hey, once again, shout out to everyone that has tuned in on Twitch and on YouTube. And thank y'all for helping me reach my goal on YouTube. I do appreciate y'all. We'll see how much additional time we have here in the second half. But America, I'm really happy. 3 goals. So technically my prediction was not too bad. You know, I asked for 2 and we got 3. So I thought we were gonna get more if the same players were out there. But since the substitutions happened, it's been like this. And I'm surprised though that they didn't get another one. But what can you say? What can you do? You know what I mean? What can you do? Okay. Oh, we got a player down here. Or is that? Oh. Facts. I mean, you're lucky it's against Zambia, right? So, Colombia, I got about like a couple more minutes. But they're gonna lose to France. It's a thrilling match though. I would have to, my thing is how am I gonna be able to catch the replay? Like, I need to be able to watch the replay of these games because we can't watch them all. We can't watch all the games. So I have to figure out where I can watch replays because there's some things I want to see. Linda's down here for Colombia in the penalty box. It's not good. Real Madrid are like, oh hell no. Okay, we got +4 additional minutes for this 90, and like I said, it's been over since the 25th minute, y'all. It's been over since that time. So not bad. I'd rather them get it done early. I'd rather you get it done early than wait, right? Ooh. Okay, Linda's up though. They gonna have to sub her. They gonna need to sub her. Okay. 2. Now, for me, I got 1 minute left. To me, I guess the surprising scoreline match for me, honestly, is the Germany-Australia. That's okay, Corbin. Oh, Albert almost gave us one more at the end. Oh, good look though. Yeah, I think the Germany scoreline is shocking. I expected Spain to beat Germany. I expected Spain to beat Japan. Yes, of course, New Zealand was never going to beat Canada. France, Colombia, like I said, France are good enough to win gold, but they can't be allowing Colombia to get 2 goals. Spain ain't going to allow you to do that. Spain not going to give you, like, if you go up 3-0, USA gets to 3 points. Oh my goodness. France and Colombia have 10 additional minutes. So I'm going to hop over here, see what's going down over here. Okay, so France and Colombia have 10 additional minutes. The match is over. USA have won the first Olympic group stage match in Group B, 3-0. We had a goal from Rodman and 2 goals from Swanson. Assists, two assists from the great Haran. And I would have to say, who was the player of the match for you? Honestly, Rodman had a good game. I'm not gonna lie. I feel Rodman had a good game. Swanson, though, is on the score sheet twice. But I'm going to have to give player of the match to Rodman. I'm going to give it to Rodman. That's just how I feel. So, yes, my player of the match is Rodman. So, with a goal, and she may have had an assist, but, you know, she. USA! Okay, so France, Colombia for the last 8 minutes. Let's get it. See what's happening here. Thank y'all once again for tuning in. If you gotta head out, I understand. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's see. Let's see what happens in this match, because it hasn't ended for me. So no spoilers. I don't know who's spoiling me if you see something. Okay. I can't believe Maria's got a red card. It's because she plays for Chelsea. I'm just going to tell you that. It's because she plays for Chelsea. All right, Marie. Who's on the field here? I can't believe Delphine is officially a San Diego A player. So France have to hold out 7 more minutes and be cool, calm, collected. All right, Baltimore in the midfield. Bacha. There's Bacha here. To Renard. And Henri is out here. Grace. Mumbach. Who else? La Cara. Oh, they had to sub Linda? No, Linda's out there. They had to sub Ramirez, yes. Good crowd out here for France too. Their home opener. It's real nice that there's. It's kind of nice. Well, this is the only time we've had the guys and the girls play at the same time, and so there's just like, I bet so many people in France right now. Like, I feel like the people that live in France are probably like, I mean, we at it again, bro. We at it again. I gotta see also when the USA women play basketball. Les Sommer's coming in for France, and Marie coming off. Well done, Marie. I'm happy for the girl. Listen, PSG going to be playing in Australia in the, what do they call it? In the preseason tournament with Man City, West Ham, and Leicester City. So this is really good that Marie is, she sure did. Okay, so, wait, what? So, it looks like the USA women basketball plays Japan first. The Japanese. Interesting. I don't know how the Japanese are at basketball, but shout out to them for making it to the Olympics. I ain't know y'all be hooping like that over there. They probably do. So USA women for basketball, looks like they have Japan, they have Belgium, and they have Germany in their group. It looks like Japan, Belgium, and Germany, USA women's basketball. Anyways, Les Sommers. They only got like 4 more minutes here. We just want to make sure France hold out and get the 3 points. That's all I really care about. I need to make sure. Listen, France, y'all gotta get to the final to play Spain. Stop playing around. That's the whole mission. That is France's whole mission. We're going to the final. France, we're going to the final. France, y'all are going to the final. Y'all are going to the final. So y'all, this is the road. We're watching right now, France road to the final. Okay? Right now. And Spain too. We're gonna be watching them go to the final. Cause I mean, who gonna beat them? Who gonna beat them? That's why that France-Canada match is gonna be interesting. That's a good match. France-Canada, lovely match. All right, we got a free kick for France. It's very close outside the box on the left side. Basha, she's gonna take this one. Got some options, of course, the GOAT, Wendy Renard. USA have won 3-0 as well. Oh, good save here, punched out. She went for goal, I saw too. She went for goal. She went for the goal from that angle. You know what I'm saying? Like, it stopped. It got halted. But don't forget, Colombia are playing down a player, so. Damn. Okay. We got like a minute and a half here for France and Colombia. Oh, of course, the player of the match is probably Marie. Okay. Okay. Dali. They're gonna keep it in the corner. Oh, they tried to keep it in the corner. I got 1 minute left. Come on, France. Hold on. Hold on, France. You got 1 minute left. Make it happen. No late. We don't need no late drama. I bet it has been. That's crazy.